Stay and 38 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/flamingo or call 866-213-2965. Weight loss not guaranteed.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, Business Development Officer at Midwest Bank's Lincoln branches. As a lifelong Lincolnite with over 30 years of experience in financial management, I'm here to help your business grow and succeed. My focus is building strong relationships with businesses and clients across Lincoln. Because at Midwest Bank, we believe banking is about people, not just numbers. Visit us at midwest.bank or stop by one of our Lincoln locations. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Hey, to celebrate, how about we play a little old-school double dribble?
Okay, but no stupid shots from the corner, because that's a glitch in the software.
Game on!
Welcome in to the Corner 3, taking you around the arc of college basketball. From the NAAC to the Pac-12, the WCC to the SWAC. We cover it all now on 93.7 The Ticket.
Oh, you dropped something. I think I'll head over in this direction. Corner 3!
Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
That's right. Welcome in. It is the Corner 3 coming at you live in 50% form from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Austin Oerman with you from the Days Hotel, just about a block away from Williams Arena here in Minneapolis, getting you set for Nebraska and Minnesota. That game coming up in just under 18 hours. It will be an 11 o'clock Central tip-off for Nebraska and the Gophers tomorrow. Huskers 19-0 overall, 8-0 in the Big Ten Conference. As always, appreciate everyone dialing up the Corner 3 here on a Friday night. You can give me a follow on Twitter at Austin_Oerman. As always, interact with the show there or on our starter Heyman Jewelers text line 402-464-5685. Big thanks to my man Harrison Orange running the board back in the studio. Harrison doing it for the Corner 3. I appreciate it. How was Jay? Was he on his best behavior? I know he was a little salty that I got to head to his old stomping grounds.
Yeah, he might be my least favorite guy to work with here at the Ticket. I think it was clear. No, I'm just kidding. Dave Foreman's great. If anyone were listening, text line was great. We got into it. Man, I'll tell you what, Austin Oerman, there's some heated waters. When we're talking about Lincoln high school athletics, we had people from Norris, Waverly, even your Lincoln Lutheran alumni came in there and started firing some shots. We had the Tri-County Trojans fire some shots. There's only one Trojan team, and that is the Heater Catholic Trojans.
You would.
And try to sell me on some other teams. I don't know if I'll listen, but there's a lot in the water. We had a lot of fun with that. People are excited. There's a lot at stake here, and it all kind of sparks with, you can take a guess, the Millard South conversation. So Omaha getting their stuff, and it kind of set a fire in Lincoln of getting tired of being left out of the conversation and wanted to put some good teams around themselves. And it sounds like there's a lot of good young groups that are working through fifth grade, middle school that we'll see down the road here. But it was a fiery last 2 hours at the very least.
I need to know who is texting in about Lincoln Lutheran. I have the text line pulled up. I need to see if I can deduce if I can figure out who that is or if I would know the number. But that's a conversation for another time. We can do that during break. The topic at hand, college hoops, as always, here on the Corner 3. And Harrison, I brought this up briefly with Jay. I think it's worth diving into a little bit more in depth here on the Corner 3, especially as we're on game day eve for Nebraska, looking to move about 2/3 of the way through their season in perfect fashion tomorrow, trying to get to 20-0 against Minnesota. There was a write-up from The Athletic. They were doing a mailbag, and the question, the very first question, the one they led with was, we are about 10 weeks away from March Madness. What does each team in the AP top 10 need to show to gain your support as national title picks? Okay, legit question, right? Top 10 teams, what are their flaws, or what are their strengths? What are they doing well? Where do they need to improve their consistency, or maybe show that they, can improve in a different area throughout the course of the year? I'm just going to read these 1 through 10. There's one of them that stands out to me. So number 1, Arizona, maybe play another top 15 caliber team. We know Arizona started the year off hot with the Koa Pete domination of Florida. Went on the road and beat a shorthanded UConn team, but still went to a proud program, a proud team, and won that game in a true road fashion. Has been off to a hot start, obviously, in Big 12 play as well. But okay, get battle tested again. Fine, understandable. Number 2, UConn, better offensive flow and shot making. Okay, legitimate, especially after last year's team. Number 3, Michigan, return to early season 3-point shooting. Okay, yep, makes sense. Number 4, Purdue, better interior defense to prevent last season's biggest shortcoming from reemerging. Sure, makes sense to me. Number 5, Duke, continued effectiveness from Isaiah Evans. Okay, yep, makes sense to me. Houston, expanding or at least not shortening the rotation. Kelvin Sampson, notorious for doing that, only playing the guys he trusts even through the regular season. Kind of college basketball Tom Thibodeau in some ways, but okay, you got that going on. You get down to number 7, Nebraska, win an NCAA tournament game. Number 8, Gonzaga, get healthy in the front court. Number 9, Iowa State, get back to turning teams over. And number 10, Michigan State, stop turning the ball over. You go through the top 10, and 9 of them are given an actual legitimate on-court basketball thing to prove or get back to prove it. The one that stands out is number 7, Nebraska, win an NCAA tournament game. And I get it. When you're talking about the national title picture and conversation for a program that's never, won a game in the NCAA tournament before, I get it. They have to prove they can win 1 before they can win 2, before they can win 3, all the way up potentially to winning 6 games in the span of 3 weeks and ultimately becoming a national champion. But I had to roll my eyes and I had to tweet something out about it because that is the lowest common denominator. That is probably the laziest take they could have possibly had. I'm not asking whoever wrote that to watch every Nebraska game, or watch every game for a top 10 team. I get it. But copping out, going directly to, well, prove you can win a game in the NCAA tournament, then I might believe, implies one of 2 things. Number 1, they think Nebraska is a perfect basketball team, which record-wise they are. But by saying, oh, just win an NCAA tournament game and we might consider picking you to win the whole thing, tells me you think this team must not have very many weaknesses, or that you're lazy. And you didn't care to even go to like Ken Palm or Torvik and Evan Mia and say, well, here's what I like about him statistically. Here's what maybe needs to change for him. And I should have expected it. I should have seen it coming. Maybe my standards for national basketball writers are a little bit too high, but it's incredible that even, 19 games into the season, Nebraska still doesn't have the respect of everyone covering, the college game, to where they can't even get a cursory look at their statistical profile, their factors, or their schedule and throw out something like that. It's, oh no, you got to win a game in the NCAA tournament. 9 of the top 10 got a surface level overview. Hey, fix this on the court. Nebraska got the off court thing that's out of its control for at least another, month and a half. Are you kidding me? That just made me roll my eyes and honestly get a little pissed.
I was just going to say, that pissed me off right when you read it. I was like, seriously, that is, I'll say it, that's lazy. Are you kidding me? That's the thing to come away with. You said that's the non-negotiable, out of control, nothing Nebraska can do about it. If they win, they win, but that's not a thing that obviously they can actually do that, but that's not really any metric of what you're looking at with this team. And it does kind of go proof to the point. As great as this run's been, you still kind of hear some of those, what I think are lazy conversations of, well, they haven't won a game, so I'm not really going to look that much into them. Yeah, they're number 7 in the country. They got X amount of quad wins. I think it's like 5, maybe 6 now. And but they haven't won a game, so let's not pay any real notice to them. This team's really good. You could go find some weaknesses if you want to go right about it. It wouldn't take, a ton of research to just do a little bit of due diligence. That is the lowest hanging fruit right there. And yes, it's true, but also that is a kind of a slap in the face to what this team's done so far. To me, that's kind of belittling what a run this has been. And you still hear in these conversations, help me out here. Who was he hopped on a podcast and he was like, well, I think Nebraska's fraudulent. I don't know if I see them in the Elite Eight, as if you don't make it to the Elite Eight, you're apparently fraudulent.
Yeah, so that was the Field of 68, their big national thing. And they've had some moments where they're better on Nebraska than this take was from The Athletic. The guy that made that comment, listening to the whole thing, you understand why he said it, but it did come out in the typical way for this guy. It's a little dismissive, a little elitist, a little, well, there's no way this can possibly be real. I mean, yeah, they're a cute story. Yeah, they're fun. Yeah, they seem pretty good, but I don't really know. And part of it is, the clickbait, finalist or frauds or finer frauds, whatever it was. But holy smokes, if your categorization of a fraudulent season is you make it further than you ever have in school history, or, you don't make it to the second game of the second weekend, you don't make it to go play for a Final Four, that might not sit well with a bunch of fan bases, but especially this Nebraska one. And I know this Nebraska team doesn't care, nor should they, right? Fred Hoiberg has mentioned, Fred hears the outside noise. He's alluded to it in some of his press conference comments. I'm sure the guys hear some of it. It doesn't bother him. It shouldn't bother him. Maybe it's a little, Baker Mayfield style chip on the shoulder. And you know what? Maybe, let's say Nebraska continues a pace. I mean, Ken Palm has them projected at 27-4 through the regular season. Only 2 games it has as losses right now for Nebraska. But when you go and you add up all the win probabilities, that's how you get to 27-4, which would be an 8-4 finishing stretch in the Big Ten for Nebraska. Get them to 16-4 in the Big Ten, which pretty much any year is good for first or second place, maybe with a tie. So, yeah, maybe Nebraska does get a 2 seed and they, lose to a 7 seed on a cold shooting night or something goes wrong. Or, maybe Nebraska's the 2, they get to the Sweet 16 and they lose to the 3 seed, in a tight game that goes back and forth. 2 over 3 is hardly an upset. It would be hard for me to call Nebraska fraudulent at that point. That's kind of besides the point. Back to the conversation that I think I want to have. If Nebraska is going to get short shrift from the national people, what can the Huskers do to actually improve, become more consistent, and keep on their winning ways? Harrison, I'll give you the floor first, just because I know you watch the games, you have your opinions as well. If there's an area or two for Nebraska, I don't care which side of the court, offense, defense, if it's something else, feel free to throw it out there. But if you're looking at Nebraska and you want to pick them to go all the way to the national championship game, what do you need to see improve for the Huskers here over the course of the next 12 games entering the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is why, kind of going back, like the dismissive part, I think should irk Husker fans. I know, like you said, the locker room, they probably handle it a lot better than we do, but it's that dismissive part all the time. And when you go look at this team, the flaws are kind of hard to point out. Maybe you got a better example of it, but when I look at this team, you really like the defensive effort that they play with. Offensively, you seem like they're really a good system. We can talk about an off shooting night from time to time, but the system looks really clean and they look clean in and out of it. The things for me to watch out for are going to be, again, it's the rebounding and the physical battles inside, kind of what we saw versus Illinois. Like what happens when you start getting killed on the glass? Are you big enough? Can guys like Burke, Yuktingel, Garcia, Rink Mast battle in late situations and stay out of foul trouble? Those are kind of the things that really have been the things to slow down Nebraska is keeping their hands clean, not getting into the fouls and allowing Illinois. I think it was like 9 minutes in that second half where they were in the bonus already. It's going to be, probably that inside defense. Are you good enough there throughout the course of a game to not let teams get into a free throw battle with you? Because those are the only times I really see Nebraska looking awkward and struggling. And as far as the offense goes, it's a pretty clean operation. Maybe you want a little bit more out of Rink Bass, but I think it kind of makes sense with the limited minutes he's had of late, getting a little bit healthier. Other guys have been stepping up, so there hasn't been a big need for him. But I there's not a single thing I really nitpick on this offense that they must clean up if they're going to have success in March Madness. Like I said, the only things that really scare me are the teams. We'll really find out. We're going to get athletic play here with Illinois again, Purdue. Michigan. How do we protect the glass and the inside perimeter defense in those games?
Yeah, 402-464-5685 if you want to chime in on this conversation as well. Would love to have your thoughts. I got the comment section up on our stream as well. So please chime in, have this conversation with us for the next 10 minutes or so, I would guess, here on the Corner 3. If there's anything for me on the offensive end, I think it's still, late clock creation in some ways, right? Sam Hoiberg has done a much better job of getting downhill. He's turned into a really good finisher at the rim, but there's still a little bit of hesitancy for me. The mid-range is really where the stars live at this point. And no, I tweeted it during the Washington game. Nebraska had 3 different guys make a mid-range jump shot against Washington. I'm sure that was talked about in film, and never again, guys, don't do this. I'm probably not to that degree. But Jamarcus Lawrence, can stop and pop from there. Berke Buchenwald hit that high post flash midi a couple times. Price Sanford can get to the rim, but also take that in-between shot sometimes as well. But if you think about guys that are going to have the ball in their hands late in the clock, right? It's going to be Price Sanford and Rink Mast a lot of the times. Nebraska really likes to go with that 2-man action that's worked really well for the Huskers most of this year. Price can get downhill. You like it off of rotation, right? He's not going to line you up and break you down necessarily. Same kind of thing for Rink Mast. It depends on the matchup for him. Jamarcus Lawrence, I like his ability to turn the corner. I think if I want to see Nebraska take another step up, I think especially in games like Minnesota, where the pace is going to be a little slower, like Iowa, and we'll get to this game coming up against Iowa and what I think it could mean for the Huskers and be another bellwether test. A game like that, I think that's where Jamarcus Lawrence and maybe a little bit of Sam Hoiberg have to be big in terms of guard creation as the quickest guys on the team. Under 10 seconds on the shot clock. I want to see those two continue to prove that they can break their guy down off the dribble, get a paint touch, or at least, create an open sort of mid-range look. And then defensively for me, I brought this up with Jay, started to have this conversation the other day. To me, it's the defensive hand activity. Fred Hoiberg says when Nebraska's defense is good, they're getting deflections, they're getting tips. If you look at Nebraska statistically, they get a steal about 10% of the time from opponents, and their non-steal turnover percentage is about 8.7% of possessions. Both of those are slightly above average. Nebraska isn't a hugely disruptive defense in the traditional sense, right? They don't block a lot of shots necessarily. They blocked a shot just like 8.3% of the time. They counter that by not really getting their shot blocked at all. And Nebraska doesn't force a lot of, live ball turnovers. They're not in your jockstrap, in your grill, hounding you 1 through 5. They'll force you into some bad ones. I mean, shot clock violations are turnovers. Nebraska has forced its fair share of those this year, but you don't have those traditional kind of counting stats defensively. And so the one that I think Nebraska tracks religiously are the deflections, because if you're not going to be able to, volleyball spike stuff into the floor, into the second row, if you're not going to be able to, steal a guy's cookies, once every 4 possessions, or jump passing lanes, that's not really Nebraska's style. Well, then what you have to do, especially in the way that Nebraska plays defense, is when you force that trap along the baseline with the big that's in help that steps up outside the lane line and the ball handler that's shepherding the player to the baseline, you got to have a big trap. You got to have an athletic trap. Your hands can't be at your side. You can't allow space to step through the trap because, Harrison, we've seen the last few games. Indiana was really the first one to do it. Northwestern did it at times. They didn't have the shot makers that Indiana did. And even Washington really moved the ball. The reason that's important to me is because Minnesota enters tomorrow's game with the best assist percentage in the country. They assist on 74% of their made field goals, tops in the country. Now, Nebraska's not far behind. Nebraska assists on about 64% of its made field goals, which is still top 15 in the country. But Minnesota, the way that they create offense is ball movement and player movement. Cade Tyson's a decent offensive player. Other than that, there's not really a go-to guy for them late in the shot clock. Jalen Crocker-Johnson in the post isn't really creating many of his own looks. They don't have many guys that will break you down off the dribble necessarily. So for Nebraska, the reason, especially against Minnesota, that I think that the hand activity and the trap activity is key is because Minnesota is going to want to hit those skip passes, right? Even if they're not the best shooting team, they're not atrocious. They're not the worst. You look at the shooting numbers, they shoot it at a 32.8% rate from 3, a little bit better than Washington. Shoot threes about 44% of the time. So they're getting, the right shots, if you will, analytically. But they're not going to be afraid to catch the skip, put their head down, and drive. And, they're in their home gym. It's a place Nebraska hasn't necessarily played well. They'll be comfortable up there. It's going to be important for Nebraska to continue to live up to that standard of getting deflections and tips, because the way that teams are going to challenge this Nebraska team are on the skip. Washington hurt you at times, Northwestern at times, Indiana especially. And, Purdue and Illinois know this, right? They will walk right into that trap because they trust their passers and they trust their shooters on the backside. Nebraska's done such a good job with it. But if you're talking about national title level ceiling for Nebraska, their way that they're going to create havoc or create tough shots is through getting those tips and giving their guys that have long closeouts that are gapped up on the backside playing 2-on-1 more time to react by making that pass either go up and over or getting a hand on it so it's not in rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, I was exactly where I was just going to go with it. And that's where, Sam Hoiberg and Jamarcus Lawrence have been able to play the role of vultures a little bit, stealing away and picking away those skip passes. And to your point, it's the beauty of just having those deflections. And even if they're not getting deflections, just having the active hand, so it can't be a direct pass out. So maybe they got to wrap around that extra half second, that other second, and gives times for everyone else to go rotate and get back on their guy. And that's led to a lot of success. That's when you see Nebraska really go on those runs where teams at this point, they know what Nebraska wants to do defensively. And it's when they fall into that trap, they have a game plan to get out of it, but the hands are still just enough of a nuisance and a pest that they know what to do and they still can't quite get it off. And then maybe they force a bad pass and it gets picked off and Sam Hoiberg's got a transition run, or Jamarcus Lawrence, or, we've done a pretty good job in transition threes as well that can really put the pressure on the other team. And that's kind of the beauty of it. But to your point, you're absolutely right. I mean, that is going to have to be the magic of Nebraska, is really having active hands. And in doing so, that defense works beautifully, because if you can get, a half second there, a couple milliseconds there, that's enough time. This team does a really good job transitioning out. But to your point, if it's going to be a national championship level team, they have to do it. And they're just going to have to keep doing it consistently, even when the competition gets better. Because like you said, they're going to meet some teams. Minnesota, for instance, going to be a good test of a really good passing team. Can you still have that same level of activity?
Let's go to our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line here to wrap up the segment. Phil, appreciate you listening and texting in. Chris says, the Washington game seemed like one of the only games I noticed Rienk Mast getting winded. Felt like to me he was being challenged physically in the post from start to finish, and that affected him, in my opinion. It was a bit of a different challenge for Rienk Mast. There are really only, a couple like archetypes of bad matchups. It's the big bruising big men that can physically overpower him, and the athletic ones that can kind of get up in his grill when Nebraska has the ball, right? He can guard stretch bigs fine. He can string plays out, play at the level like Nebraska wants him to do. I thought Rienk Mast looked in fine shape. Maybe that was just kind of the old-fashioned kind of football analogy, run the ball and wear him down in the fourth quarter, right? I mean, Rienk Mast, and I talked about this with Jay, hadn't played extended minutes in Nebraska's previous couple games, and that's fine. I get it. I totally understand why Nebraska did that. They needed Rienk Mast all the way through that game against Washington to help close it out. I didn't think Rienk's performance dropped off a cliff or anything. It wasn't a precipitous drop. He was still fine. He was a big part of Nebraska stretching that lead right back to 17 points after Washington got it down to 11. But
and
yeah,
I'll quickly say this. Sorry to cut you off, but just on the Rienk Mast, like honestly, he's a guy that 5 minutes into the game, it looks like somebody dumped a bucket of water. So, I mean, he's a slower player. He's a very sweaty. We just had Sam Hoiberg in. He commented on it. Like, it's a real thing. He's a very hardworking individual. And, he just kind of has that lumbering presence sometimes when he's going inside. To your point, like, it didn't seem like he dropped off a cliff. I think people get a little bit worried just because of obviously the injury pass, but I'm also at a point, like, I didn't think he was looking worn out. I think that is just kind of the manner he plays in. And when he needs to turn it on, you'll see him hit that switch. But, I just think at times he doesn't really see the need to force his game onto it. So you will see him not be nearly as active, but I don't think it's no real reason yet to be concerned of, is he out of shape? Is the injury starting to come back and bite him a little bit? I think we're okay there.
No, I completely agree. I mean, you're going to be hypersensitive about your guy, right? It became a talking point, and maybe I'm a little guilty of starting that conversation. That was not my intention, but maybe I got to be better about how I phrase it and what I get across. I would also say this. I think it was more noticeable defensively for Rienk Mast than offensively. He got most of the same shots, made most of the same passes, but Steinbach was built for a freshman, right? And maybe, a little pudgy, little baby fat on him, but he knew how to use his frame. He got up into Rienk Mast. Kepnong is an absolute bully down there, and Washington played both of those guys together for stretches. And that's a big ask for anyone, especially a guy like Rink, who, isn't bad when you think about, being physical in the post. But I would still say that Rink is, not a finesse big by any means, but, he's the pick and pop big, right? He's more of a positional defender than a lockdown defender, right? He's not elite moving his feet on the perimeter, but he's good enough, and you can get by with it in most matchups. So whenever the game, gravitates to a full court up and down full press game, Nebraska's going to want Rink Mast handling the basketball so he doesn't have to sprint up and down the court, because usually guards will hound, and then if you have a big man on him, you'll use Rink Mast to slow the tempo down offensively, but defensively, going into the post and banging with Rink Mast down there, I mean, he'll contest, right? Rink isn't out of position, hardly ever, if at all. But, guys can get around him in the post. They can elevate higher to get their jump hooks off over him. In rebounding wise, I think Rink has been one of the guys that's been best at getting a body on people. But like anyone, sometimes he's prone just to, get the little forearm check, turn and look up for the ball. Against Washington, he had to make more of a concerted effort to go get a body. And when you have a guy ramming into you the way that Washington was doing, that was a big part of their game plan. It's going to wear on you, especially after you've played a few fewer minutes and you haven't seen that level of physical challenge in a while. Let's go ahead.
We're also letting them play that way, just to make that point, to where you're going to get in games. There are going to be situations where the refs don't even allow that kind of style of game to happen, where that was also really in favor of how Washington wanted to play. And Steinbach, I think he was the leading rebounder for Washington and the leading offensive scorer. So you knew he had a good opponent there. And it really did, the way that was being called, cater into the strength of Washington. But I still thought, to your point, like Rink Mast had his moments where he was doing just fine. And Steinbach's a good player. I mean, he's going to win.
He sure will. We're going to go ahead and take our first break of the show here on the Corner 3. A big thank you to Diode Technology for sponsoring the trip up here to Minneapolis. Go ahead and check them out online. All the needs you have in terms of home technology, workplace security, Diode Tech is good for all of that stuff. Check them out online or give them a call today. He's Harrison Arns. I'm Austin Oerman. 2 more segments of the Corner 3 after this on the ticket.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, Business Development Officer at Midwest Bank's Lincoln branches. As a lifelong Lincolnite with over 30 years of experience in financial management, I'm here to help your business grow and succeed. My focus is building strong relationships with businesses and clients across Lincoln. Because at Midwest Bank, we believe banking is about people, not just numbers. Visit us at midwest.bank or stop by one of our Lincoln locations. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
At Anderson Ford, we have commission-free guides who are paid to give you a great experience, not make a sale, so you can choose the best vehicle for you. Right now at Anderson Ford, lease a 2025 Ford Escape for $222 per month. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 4003618. Lease for $222 per month for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 5,000 plus first payment due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Plus take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 2226.
Change begins with you. Join a weight loss medication study at Solarion and earn cash in the process. If you are 19 to 65 years old with excess weight to lose, you may qualify. Participants could earn up to $22,750 for their time. Study includes 1 2-night stay, 1 3-night stay, and 38 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/flamingo or call 866-213-2965. Weight loss not guaranteed.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduced High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Hey guys, this is former UFC fighter and mixed martial artist Anthony Lionheart-Smith. The Upside Bar and Lounge in South Lincoln is the go-to spot for every UFC event, prelims, and main card. There's never a cover, so make sure you get there early and stay late. Upside Bar and Lounge has daily specials, a margarita club, and a taco club. And don't forget, they just added Buzz Bowls to their menu. Learn more about upcoming events by visiting UpsideBarLNK.com and stop into their South Lincoln location for every UFC event on 27th and Pine Lake.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm playing for real.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. What play should I call now? Maybe corner three.
He's hot. He is hot. Keep feeding that guy. Back to the corner three on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
Thank you very much. Welcome back in. It is the Corner 3 here, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Up next day at the latest for you worldwide, wherever it is you get your podcast. I'm Austin. He's Harrison with you for the next 25 minutes, half an hour or so here on The Ticket. Harrison, we're going to take a look at across the Big Ten right now. A couple things stood out to me from this week. First, and maybe the funniest comment of the week, Michigan State won a game. Tom Izzo, being who he is, still found something to be unhappy with. And this was one of his guards, a transfer guard by the name of Kerr Tang. Kerr Tang, according to his head coach, could not guard Tom Izzo's 99-and-a-half-year-old mother who's living in a nursing home. Of course, this is a Michigan State program that prides itself on defense and rebounding, toughness, all that stuff. Kerr Tang has been one of the best shooters on that Michigan State team this year, had 4 made threes against Nebraska, really lifted the Spartans back into the tie game and taking the lead in that game in Lincoln. But man, it's always funny, and you give Tom Izzo a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, right? He's a guy that likes it when his players go back and forth with him. He's not ever afraid to issue a challenge. But that was a new one for me. I've never heard a college coach accuse one of his players of not being able to guard a lady who's coming up on a century on this planet.
Double down on it too is my favorite part. Is when you get to the press conference after, and I think he said along the lines of tomorrow morning at the nursing home we'll find out, or something like that, where he's going to have him challenged. But I mean, this is one of the more fun versions I've seen of Izzo, which is saying a lot because I've always really appreciated his game and how he's handled the media. But I mean, hey, put some pressure on the man, really calling out your defense and doubling it down on it to the media. But I mean, he does it in a way where I'm sure he's got the full respect of that locker room. It's kind of hard not to when you are Tom Izzo. But no, I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. And I love the fact that he doubled down on it and didn't hesitate.
You're an Izzo appreciator?
Oh, 100%.
I might get pilloried for this, and I probably deserve it. But Tom Izzo's just kind of like pissed me off over the last 10 years. Obviously, like, I respect the game, right? Like, he's a legend. He still has the most recent championship for the Big Ten. Like, I acknowledge everything that Tom Izzo has done for Michigan State, has done for the Big Ten, has done for the state of Michigan, and in college hoops, right? He's a legend, right? I'm not arguing his place in the game. But I think what I hate about Tom Izzo is that I don't understand how he's made some of these teams work. I mean, Michigan State being in the Champions Classic, they won it in 2000. 2000. I mean, that's 25 on 26 years ago, and they get an invite to the Champions Classic. I mean, I guess if you're looking for a Big Ten team, sure, it's probably got to be Michigan State. Fine, so be it. But okay, you're the outlier there. You're alongside Kansas and Kentucky and Duke. Oh, and here's Michigan State, which, okay, whatever. I can let that go. But the Michigan State Spartans under Tom Izzo kind of have this like Cleveland Guardians devil magic vibe about them that I just don't quite understand. I mean, you think about some of the great players that they've had over there in the last, 15 years, right? I mean, you go to Denzel Valentine, you go to Miles Bridges, a guy that I think is quickly becoming underrated in Big Ten history is Cassius Winston. That guy was a stud. He killed Nebraska and plenty of other teams. Tom Izzo's had a bunch of success, but the last like 5-ish years, I just have not understood how Michigan State works. Like last year's team, for example, I mean, won the Big Ten and maybe not dominating fashion, but had a really good record, ended up with a 2 seed. And that was, to my eyes, just Jace Richardson, right? He was the only guy that could shoot. He could only go left. And yet he was the one thread holding together the Michigan State ugly Christmas sweater that Tom Izzo would wear against Oakland. Like, I don't understand how Michigan State makes it work. And while I respect the genius, I respect the man. He's a good listen, and obviously he's got a lot of ties to Nebraska with Fred and with Jack Hoiberg and whatnot. I'm not trying to diss the man. I'm just saying Michigan State and Tom Izzo piss me off because I want to understand how teams that look like that do it, how they win. I just don't understand Michigan State, and I guess I'm just scared of that, which I don't understand.
Yeah, you know what? You sound like a Duke fan in a gated community.
Well, what can I say?
I know why we're great, because we have all these beautiful things and we know X, Y, and Z, but those peasants down there, I don't know how they make it work. No, I think it is a little bit of the mystery of Tom Izzo, right? Because like last year was not a team that, was kind of early on. I was like, I don't know if this team's going to be very good. And then obviously to your point, to go rattle off just some incredible win and put some good streaks together. But it is a little bit of the mystique. And I mean, that's a long time. That's even longer than I realized. It's been about 25 years. And when you talk about, because what was Duke? You guys went in 16, 15?
It was the 2014-15 season.
Yeah, so you still have some of that relevance where, you still think of Duke, even though they're not, constantly dominating them without Coach K anymore, although they're still a very solid program. It has been a while for Michigan State to really make some massive waves down there and actually go win a championship, but they just good enough in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten still holds enough respect that if you're knocking heads in the Big Ten, you're going to get that respect, even if you don't necessarily do great March Madness, because unfortunately, I mean, that's kind of been the trend of all Big Ten teams is when it comes to March Madness, we're usually not there very late. You get an occasional Frank Kaminsky year with Wisconsin,
right.
But you're hard-pressed to find more.
Well, I mean, then you have Purdue playing for the national title, making its first Final Four a few years before that, or being on the doorstep of doing it, and then they make their first Final Four in a long time with that ED team. Wisconsin had a pop-up. Michigan won a title. Ohio State got close a couple times, but ran into that absolute buzzsaw that was Florida, that junior class with Horford and Brewer and Joakim Noah. And yeah, there was some Duke fan hate going on there, but Duke's kind of owned Tom Izzo, so I can let it go. A guy that can't let it go in the Big Ten, though, Harrison, is Mick Cronin. UCLA hosts Purdue, and they get a game-winning 3 from Tyler Bilodeau. They go ahead of Purdue by 2, 69-67, with like 5 seconds left. Purdue gets a decent look on a trail 3 to try to win it at the buzzer. It doesn't drop. Good on UCLA. Shout out to Ben Stevens, Big Ten Ben. He says it's UCLA's first win versus an AP top 5 team since January 2022. It's the Bruins' first regular season win versus an AP top 5 team as an unranked team since December of 2015. UCLA needed this win and got it. Yeah, Bruins were kind of on life support. At least the vibes were really bad around them. Like, hey, look at them. They knock off Purdue. They get a home game against them. They take their best shot. They pay it off. What a good win for those guys. Well, leave it to Mick Cronin, who begins his press conference with, I want to thank the Big Ten for giving us 5 of our first 7 conference games on the road and giving us the team picked to win the league on 2 days rest. Okay, I get it, but Scott Docterman, writing for The Athletic, tweeted out some really good perspective too. UCLA's semester starts early, January 5th. The Big Ten gave them 2 road games on January 3rd and January 6th to avoid missing class. After they played Maryland at home, they got a combination trip to Penn State and Ohio State. And then they play this home game against Purdue to start a stretch of 5 out of 6 at home. Docterman says coaches want 2 days of prep. He got that for Purdue. UCLA gets West Coast teams home and home, and they don't have trips out to Rutgers or Maryland this year. So UCLA is in the midst of a tough stretch. Their season's not going as planned. But guess what? Mick Cronin complained about this same thing last year. And yes, it's going to be different for a coastal team, like the Pac-12 wing, like your Rutgers, Penn State, Maryland wing, right? They're just natural travel issues that are going to pop up more for those teams than any. But to completely skip over, ignore the concessions the Big Ten has made, trying to do the best they can for you in that situation. Number one, it's not some grand conspiracy against UCLA, a brand that I would think the Big Ten would want to be pretty decent at basketball. And number two, you just made history. Your first win over a top 5 team in like 3.5 seasons. Your first win over a top 5 team as an unranked team in a decade plus. And that's the route you choose to go? What a disservice to his players in a potential season-changing win.
Yeah, that was bizarre. It's hard to imagine after that game. You can't imagine there's going to be all positive vibes in the press conference. I can't wait to hear what coach has to say. This is an iconic win, and to your point, it was right out of the gate, and it's been the same sap story. I mean, he's been on this forever, and where I kind of really have problems with it. I don't know what a proper analogy is, but it's kind of like, what are you telling us for? The media isn't going to fix this problem for you.
No.
You telling us is just a bad look. It's getting annoying at this point for some people. Go talk to the people in charge. Stop crying to the media about it. We're not in control. They're not going to go it's not going to be in the New York Times, and they're going to have a ton of pressure on them to go and fix the, horrible things they did about UCLA's tough scheduling. And to your point, he left out the concessions that they did make to make it a better situation for them. So that's kind of where I land. It's just bizarre. You have this huge iconic win, and you keep complaining to people that have zero control over anything with it. So if you're going to be on the soapbox, I mean, you can have a therapy session after every game, but it's not helping you any. And it's kind of a tough look on the program.
And, maybe when Mick Cronin left, Cincinnati to go to UCLA, he didn't see this move on the horizon, wasn't exactly what he bargained for. And I can get that. I can be sympathetic to the cause that it's tough travel. I'm not going to knock that at all. But number one, Mick Cronin, you're not Tom Izzo. You're not Matt Painter, in this circumstance, right? You're not even maybe Fred, you're not Dusty May. Who's at the top of the conference right now. Shoot, even Brad Underwood, who is, I have my other problems with Brad Underwood. And that's not to say, who are you to talk Mick Cronin? I mean, you're a 500-game winner in college, but that's why I'm even more disappointed. You've been through it. You've been through the grind. And as the leader of the program, you're supposed to set an example for your guys, right? Celebrate them, lift them up. I get that you're the coach that, has an edge, that there's a toughness about you. That wasn't tough. That was weak sauce. That was complaining. And I just thought it was a really terrible look. Let's take a look, though, at the Big Ten standings here entering the weekend. One undefeated team and one winless team in the Big Ten. Nebraska up top in sole possession of first place in the Big Ten at 8-0. Penn State all the way down at the bottom at 0-8. Minnesota 3-5 in the conference. They went 7-4 in their non-conference against the unbeaten Huskers coming up here. Obviously, just 8 games into the conference schedule, it's going to be a little bit jumbled. There's only one team at 4-4. That's Iowa. There's 3 of them at 3-5, 2 of them at 5-3, and 1 at 6-2. But Minnesota's Big Ten schedule specifically, Harrison, they hosted Indiana, knocked off a top 25 Indiana team at the time at home, had to turn right around, go to Purdue. They got absolutely shellacked. They beat Northwestern and they beat Iowa pretty close. They went to Welsh Ryan, won by 6, knocked off top 20 Iowa at the time by a bucket, 70-67, in a game that they really, really desperately tried to give away, but just couldn't quite do it. But now Minnesota enters tomorrow's game, 11 o'clock tip-off on a 4-game Big Ten losing streak. They lost back-to-back home games against USC and Wisconsin. Those games were both tied. A 1-point loss to the Trojans, a 3-point loss to a suddenly resurgent Wisconsin. Then they went on the road and lost by 18 points in the 2 games, a 10-point loss on the road at Illinois, and an 8-point loss on the road at Ohio State. I bring that up because if you look at the rest of the schedule for Minnesota, right, you have Nebraska, you go to Wisconsin, then you get at Penn State, you host Michigan State, going to be tough, and then Maryland, go to Washington, go to Oregon, host Rutgers. I think if you're in Minnesota looking at this, you're 3-5. You're not out of the race yet. I mean, no one's out of the race yet, but you're pretty far down with already 5 losses. But man, if you're Minnesota, you're looking to get into that top 6, I think, after that stretch, because then after there, you'll have Michigan on the road, UCLA, at Indiana, and Northwestern. This is, I think, a sneaky big game for Minnesota that enough people won't talk about nationally, because, if Minnesota is able to pull off their 3rd top 25 upset of the season at home, I think that could really kickstart, a run for the Gophers where they go, 5-1, 6-1 across their next handful of games.
Yeah, and that's why tomorrow has vital importance. We say it all the time. It's tough to win games in the Big Ten on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Always true. But this Minnesota team has been pretty solid. And I think they're better than maybe some people will give it credit for. So it's a big challenge for the Huskers tomorrow. There's no doubt about that. 11 a.m. too. You got to have that energy early in the morning.
And from the Nebraska side of things here, again, sitting in sole possession of first place in the Big Ten Conference 40% of the way through. This is where Nebraska enters its tough stretch, right? What are the lessons that the Huskers have learned from being able to win some of these games, really since Christmas break? So at Minnesota, obviously, then at Michigan, who's just a game back in the Big Ten standings at 7-1, the only loss to Wisconsin. After Michigan, you turn around a few days later, you host number 11 Illinois with revenge on their mind. Nebraska are the only Big Ten loss to this point for Illinois, so they're just a game back of you at this point. You go to Rutgers after a few days off. That's another 11 o'clock tip for Nebraska, Central Time, noon Eastern Time. Then you come back home with a 2-day prep. You host Purdue. This is a tough stretch here, Harrison, for Nebraska. One of their big games on the road, 2 of them at home. But man, we're going to see over the next really, 2 weeks, I think, for Nebraska. 2.5 weeks maybe. I don't doubt what this team is made of. But man, this is where if you want to keep the 1 seed chatter going, or certainly top 3 seed chatter going, if you go 2-1 against those ranked teams in any combination, you are sitting incredibly pretty.
Oh, absolutely. And to your point, I know we're running out of time here. You got to replay up on the next hour, but this stretch, it's good that we have the post-game show still operating and running, despite what could have been years maybe we pulled the plug on it, because this is what we've been waiting for. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a tough schedule, but this is a year where, you can look at these tough games and maybe you don't win them all, or maybe you see some really tough problems, but you feel like you at least got answers for some of these situations. And you see a team that maybe they don't win all of them, but they're certainly in a good spot to go compete. It doesn't have to be a miracle upset, kind of like it was versus Purdue. I don't want to call that game a miracle, but people weren't really anticipating it maybe the same way. This is a team that, they're going to be tough games, but they've shown on paper that they're capable of really challenging these tougher teams. So it's going to be a challenge, but they've proven it a few times already this season.
All right, short break. We'll wrap up Corner 3 after this on the ticket.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment, or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
If you're tired of the dieting circuit paradox but still want to look, feel, and perform better, you need to get to Nutrition Authority and ask about our nutrition coaching featuring LifeBase. LifeBase takes the complex world of nutrition and makes it simple with real results that last. Stop in to learn more or check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with the bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G1388852 and G16518. 888-4, 2500 down with proof credit.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: cloudy skies expected, be breezy and cold. The afternoon high of just 2 above. Tonight, snow likely and cold, low around 1 below. And tomorrow, a continued chance of snow, otherwise cloudy and cold. The afternoon high around 8. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com. If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Hi, nice to meet you. Can I have that? Hang out over here for a second. Corner 3!
You gotta get out there, Cleveland.
I'm trying. He's taking advantage of poor technology.
Back to the Corner 3 on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
That's right. Welcome back in one final time here to the Corner 3, whether you're listening live on radio or back via the podcast. Truly appreciate it. I'm Austin. He's Harrison. And Harrison, 2 funny quotes from the week in college basketball. First of all, I was, pounding my chest about Duke greatness earlier. Been a little bit of a fall from grace from one of the best point guards in NCAA history as a head coach in Bobby Hurley. Arizona State loses again this week. And here are the quotes from Bobby Hurley. "We failed. I'm failing. I can't get through to the team. I don't know what else I can say. We have not played well here at home in years, like since before COVID. We had this place cooking before that. Now it's a sterile environment. We don't win here. We don't give our fans any reason to show up with enthusiasm to think that we're going to win a basketball game. We've been dreadful at home for years. Bottom line, there isn't a commitment to listening. My voice is not working with this group." This is an Arizona State team that got bounced in the college basketball crown by Nebraska last year. I'm kind of still surprised Bobby Hurley has been employed at Arizona State. It's just been so mid for a long time. But holy cow, that comment is deep and dark and does not scream or exude confidence.
No, there's a few times there I was like, oh, that's got to be the end of it. Oh, it just keeps going on. That's not. That's not what you hear. There's no reason for the fans to show up. This place is sterile. Interesting terminology to use there. Really, it sends a bad noise. And then I can't get anybody to listen to me. Do you want to be fired? Like, it sounds like you kind of want let out of, misery's sake. Like, I almost got to feel bad for you. It sounds like he's just having a miserable time. That's one of the rougher ones I've heard, just openly and honest to the public on how he really feels.
Let me one up that, though, or allow Ed Cooley to one up that. So the vibes were really bad. Ed Cooley left Providence. Those fans felt betrayed a few years ago. Been off to a rocky start at GT for Ed Cooley. Well, early in the year, Ed Cooley got in trouble for throwing a water bottle that hit a young fan in the head in the stands during a loss. So there's that, which leads into this quote. There's a lot worse happening than Georgetown losing a basketball game. Around the world, around our city, around our community. You know what we are? We're blessed. We're blessed to be 9-9. We're blessed to be 1-6 in the league. It could be a lot worse. Well, it did get worse. They lost to Villanova, and Ed Cooley started shaking hands with Kevin Willard, head coach of Villanova, and walked off the court with 12 seconds left in the game, and Georgetown still having to inbound the ball. My goodness.
Well, he can't be there too much longer. I did not realize he walked off the court with 12 seconds left. I've never seen that before in my lifetime.
No, and he might be factually correct that there are worse things going on in the world than Georgetown being 500 overall and 1-6 in the conference. But holy cow, is that the time and place to say that?
I mean, that's like, Austin, if I come in here and, say I run a bunch of stuff on air that's inappropriate, highly inappropriate, and the station's going to get heavily punished for it. And DP brings me into his office. I'm like, DP, I know this looks bad, but if you look at the rest of the world, there's some really bad things going on that we should be appreciative of just the fact that we're here right now. There's a time and place for things. That is an awful time and place to be making those types of comments. That is your job to take care of those. So you can't just quite scapegoat on there's problems in the real world that we could focus on.
Go ahead and hit that out music, Harrison. You can kill the stream. I know we got a replay coming up, but I would tell you that just sounds like a normal Friday night on the ticket. So stay tuned. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Harrison, appreciate you hopping on the board, my man. We'll see you when I get back.